Today what I'm going to show you is a tool called Symbaloo Lesson Plans. It's a platform that's kind of game-styled that allows you to create pathways for students based on resources and quizzes that you create on this grid. So I'm going to show you how to create a Symbaloo lesson plan and some of the benefits of it. So if I go over here, I've logged into my account and you can see that just based on like welcome Jesse Anderson. You can also see up here where it says my lesson plans. Over here I have open assignments, so these are the ones that I've already assigned to students. And then I have down here, it's tracking these assignments because they are assigned to students up here. So I'm going to show you how to create one, and then I'll show you what these areas look like in order to track students who have already started the activity. So if I click on create a lesson plan, the first thing it's going to do is going to come to a grid. I'm going to show you the different features here as soon as I type in the title. So let's just say this one is for frogs. So I'm going to start my lesson plan. And I'm going to exit out of this first because I don't want to show this to you yet because I think there are some other things that are really important that we should focus on first, and then I'll show you how to build a board. The first thing is up here in this toolbar, there is a crop feature. So let's say I don't want my board to be this large and I only want it to be a small activity. You can make it as small as 6 by 4. So I can make it smaller. Maybe I need it to be larger. I can make it a 10 by 6. Okay, so that'll be up to you based on how large that board needs to be for students. The other thing is there's an image feature here and you can have different themes. So I'm just going to choose this theme. You can also add pictures and upload them from your computer as a background if you want, depending on what topic you are going to focus on. And then what we do is we select a tile to continue editing. So what I would do is I would click here, and this is where I would start to add my tiles. Now let's say you don't have time to create your own, but you want to be able to use this tool with your students. You can always go to the marketplace. The marketplace allows you to look for activities that people have already created. These ones right here, highest rated, there's a Dr. Seuss Scholastic News. What is energy? It tells you the time that it should take students to complete those. We can also choose one. Let's just click on our solar system. And you can add this to your account as a favorite. And you can also try this lesson plan. You're in preview mode, so you can see the actual game board. This one doesn't have different pathways. It just has one that you follow all the way through. And so for instance, if I click here, there's no title available yet for that one. But if I go here first, it's going to give me some instructions. You can say, I got it. And it'll give instructions here. And then what we would do is we would go to the next button and we can start answering questions. So what are the first closest planets to the sun? My very eager mother. It would be B. It would check our answer. It's going to give us some feedback. We can hit continue and it'll ask us another question. And if we go back to our board, down here at the bottom it says go back. You can see that the game piece has moved to this spot, and that means that's where I'm at. So we also have a progress bar, and we have a game board to follow and track where we're at. Okay, so let's go and create our own. We already had one on frogs, so as you can see, you can click here as the hyperlink, or you can go to the pencil to edit. I'm just going to click on frogs. It's going to take me to the one that I started. So right here, I'm going to select a tile to start with. Let's say I want to learn about, let's say, poisonous frogs. So I'm going to click on poisonous frogs. It's going to do a search. There are different search options here. We can go to Open Ed Search. That's going to find us academic related resources. We can go to video search, article search, Google search, any of those kinds. Search all is going to search everything. I like to start with Open Ed Search. And I can look at these different resources, these videos if I want to. Let's also try a video search. Deadly poisonous dart frog. We could go to this video. We could look at the video and make sure it was appropriate for students. And then we could add it. So we're going to add this to the tile. And one of the things, if I go back here and I add that resource to the title, you can see here's the title. You can add descriptions. Okay. You can also add a question set. And this is where this gets kind of fun with the pathway piece. If you just want them to access resources and not have questions, then you're going to have an entire pathway that's going to just be one direction. But if you want it to adapt based on students' understanding of the material, you can create questions. So I could say, what are frogs? And I could put an answer in here. And I could say this one is the correct answer. It'll change there. You can add hints if you want to. That's what that looks like. You could add another answer. Or you could delete if you needed just 3. And you would hit save. And now you can see that there are 2 different pathways. So let's say this is the correct answer. And students don't need to know what poisonous frogs are anymore. So maybe we start to look at different types of frogs, or let's say poisonous frogs in Florida. Okay, let's see. So I would do a search. Florida poisonous toad frogs kill pets. A few Florida frogs and toads. Maybe we want them to learn about the migration of frogs. Maybe that's the next step. Same setup. Maybe I don't want questions with this one. I just want them to watch the video and just hit save. I could add another pathway. Maybe now I want them to learn about frogs in Montana. This isn't a clear pathway, but there we go. Add that resource. So you can see you can start to build these different pathways. If I want to go a different direction, this is the incorrect answer, then I can say, what are frogs? I could add a resource if I want to, which I could just populate using this again. I can create my own resource, so I can just add a description, a title. I could just give them further information. Maybe I have an article that I just have a specific paragraph that I want them to read. I could copy and paste that in here and give them the resource link. And maybe then I ask them a question, a similar question to what I asked them before. If I don't have a resource and I just want to probe them with another question, to ask it in a different way to make sure that they just didn't understand the first question, I could also ask that question here and just set it up the same way that I did before. So that's how you create a lesson plan. So let's say my lesson plan is done. I'm going to go up here to assign and start tracking. And when I click assign and start tracking, it's going to assign a number. And this number is going to be the number that you give students. If you have Google Classroom, you can use this button to give them the link to the board. If not, you can get the link down here for students and put that in any kind of LMS that you would like to. Or you can also do a QR code, put it on a Symbaloo board if you have Symbaloo already set up. Or what you can do is you can just give them this number. If you give them this number, I'm just copying it. I'm going back over to the page before you log in. It says, I'm a student. Have them type this number in there. Click join. It's going to take them directly to the board that you want them to go to. And you'll see it'll ask them what their name is. If I want to log in as someone else, like it might prompt them to log in as their Google, but if not, you could just say, this is my name, hit start. It'll take them to the board. And on the board, this is what it's going to look like. There's going to be a game piece, and they can follow through with the game. Now, as Fred, I am starting this board, this game, and as a teacher, I now know that Fred is in and working on this activity. And the reason I know that is because it's recording or tracking the information from students. So if I pop back over to a teacher, you can see underneath open assignments, this says frogs. And you can see that there's one person that is working on this lesson. And if I go to frogs, and underneath that access code, I will see a list of names of students, what their scores are, what their progress is, and how much time they've spent on that activity. And if there's more than one student, it's going to list it there. If I click on Fred, I can see more specifically what he's done, which tiles he's clicked on, and all of those different pieces. So that's one really, really helpful way to allow students to have some kind of adapted pathway without having to create a bunch of paper copies for students. And it's an interactive and fun way for them to complete the activity. So if you have any questions on Symbaloo lesson plans, please let me know.